everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley and today I'm going to be talking about my summer TBR. So I just recently put out a video for my most anticipated thriller and horror book releases for the summer, so definitely all of those are obviously also on my radar and that I hope to read this summer as they are coming out. So I'm not going to mention those books today. There may be a couple that overlap if I just happen to have them here, but that's not going to be the focus of this video. But if you do want to know about which new releases are on my radar for the summer, you can definitely go check out that video and see which books I'm most highly anticipating. For today, I'm going to be talking about just general books that are on my summer TBR. I'm going to be talking about arcs that I have that I'm excited to get to, which are advanced reader copies if you're not familiar. I'm going to be talking about book club books. I'm going to talk about my Summerween TBR. It's just going to be a big mix of all the books that I hope to get to this summer. So let's go ahead and jump on into the books. First up, let's start with books that I'm planning to read for book clubs. First up, we have Hide by Kirsten White, which I will be reading for the Literally Dead book club in June. I'm actually going to be one of the co-hosts in June, so I am obligated myself to actually read this anyways, but I'm super excited for that discussion, and this has been one of my most highly anticipated books of the year. This is by Kirsten White, who is the same author of The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein, which was one of my absolute favorite books of last year, so I was super excited to read something else from her. And this sounds very, very different. It is an adult thriller with horror vibes that is about this game at an amusement park where you're playing hide or seek, and if you win, you can win a lot of money, and I think people are like getting killed off, and it sounds really intense. I haven't heard a single good review of this book yet, but I'm kind of hoping that that's going to work in my favor, that my expectations will be extremely low for this book, and maybe I'll actually end up liking it more than a lot of other people have. So I don't know, TBD. It would not be the first time I've had an unpopular opinion, so there is still a chance that I'm gonna end up liking this one. I do think it sounds super interesting, and I did really like the writing from this author in the past, so I'm still excited to pick it up, and I'm excited for the Literally Dead book club discussion, which will be sometime at the end of June or maybe early July. I don't think we have a date set yet, but I will let you know as soon as we do. Then I'm also hoping to read the June pick for the Book Troop book club, which is hosted by Gabby from Gabby Reads, and that is The Children on the Hill by Jennifer McMahon. I've not read from this author before, but this book sounds really interesting to me. It's supposed to be inspired by Frankenstein, and it honestly kind of reminds me of The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein with just the way that it's described, so I'm hoping that it does have similar vibes to that and that I do end up enjoying it as well. I don't own a physical copy of this one, but the audiobook I know is on Scribd, so I'm hoping to listen to the audiobook of this. All I really remember about it is that following this woman who I think is raising her grandkids, and she brings another kid into the mix. They have a monster club, you're following different timelines, creepy things are happening, Frankenstein vibes. I don't really know, it just sounds like a good time. And then in July, I believe the Literally Dead book club and the Book Troop have the same book club pick, which is the new Riley Sager book, The House Across the Lake, which I'm super excited to pick that one up. I always love picking up Riley Sager's books, even if I end up not enjoying them as much. I'm always still interested in the new stuff that he's writing. This is supposed to be very Rear Window inspired, following this person in a cabin. They see something going on at the house across the lake. Creepy things ensue. I've heard the plot twist is really crazy, so I'm super excited to pick this one up. Next up, we have my Summerween TBR, which if you don't know what Summerween is, it is a readathon that is hosted by Gabby from Gabby Reads and Olivia from Olivia Reads a Latte. They do a couple of different iterations of it throughout the year, but the goal is just read spooky books, mystery, thriller, true crime, anything spooky, and they will be doing another round of Summerween in July. I am hoping to read The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager as part of Summerween, so I'm planning to lump that into my TBR. And then I have a couple other books that are on the top of my radar that I'm hoping to pick up for Summerween, but this is all subject to change depending on my mood. First up, I have Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu, which is edited by Carmen Marie Machado, who I absolutely love Carmen Marie Machado, so I thought this was super cool that I found a copy of this book that was edited by her. This is a very old vampire story that actually inspired Dracula, and I really enjoyed Dracula when I read it in the past couple of years, and when I was reading that, a lot of people recommended that I pick this one up as well. And this one, it is a female vampire, and I believe she is trying to make another woman a vampire throughout the story. This is also a lot shorter than Dracula, so that's why I thought it would be good for a readathon. It's only a little bit over 100 pages, and people said I'm really gonna like it, so I'm interested in picking this one up. I also have another classic, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I wanted to read this for a really long time. It's really short, it's perfect for a readathon. Everyone knows what it's about. I think I even might have read this when I was young, but I don't remember the actual story, so I did want to pick it up and give it a try. This is less than 100 pages, so should be pretty good for a readathon. And then I also really want to get to Night Bitch by Rachel Yoder. I've had this on my TBR for a long time. I I was really excited for it when I picked it up, but then I started hearing bad reviews of it, and so I've just put it off for a long time, but I really want to pick it up. I think I could actually really enjoy this one. It's about a woman who believes she is turning into a dog. It is like a literary fiction kind of story with some horror elements to it as well, so I want to give this one a try, but if I don't love it, I'm not going to force myself to finish it. So also thought it would be a good contender for a readathon because I'll give it a try. If I want to DNF, I'll DNF, but I still want to give this one a shot. So those are the plans for Summerween. It definitely could change by the time we get there, but hopefully I can knock out some backlist books I've had for a while and then the new Riley Sager. Next up, I want to talk about the ARCs that I'm planning to get to this summer. So like I said, these are advanced reader copies that the publisher has either sent to me physically or ebooks through NetGalley, which I'm super appreciative of. So I want to make sure that I can get to all of the ARCs that have been sent to me. First one is Sometime in Summer by Katrina Leno. I'm actually reading this one right now. This is a middle grade story about this girl who is going away on vacation with her mom for the summer. Her parents are recently going through a separation and she's just in a tumultuous part of her life. She's turning 14 years old, so she's also just experiencing a lot of things that you experience when you're turning 14 years old. She's going away to the East Coast with her mom for the summer, and it's a coming of age story, and there's some magical elements in the story as well. I really enjoyed everything that I've read from Katrina Leno so far, so I was really excited for another book from her. Next up, we have Acts of Violet by Margarita Montemor. This is the same author as Una Out of Order, which I absolutely loved. It's one of my all-time favorite books. This is a story about this magician who goes missing in the middle of her act, and then her sister is trying to figure out what happened to her and find her missing sister. I think they have a lot of magicians in the family from what I understand about this book, and it just sounds like it's going to have that same kind of heart to it that Una Out of Order did. I love these stories with just weird magic in the story that's not necessarily explained, and it sounds like it could be another favorite of mine, so I'm super excited to pick this one up. All of the other ARCs that I'm planning to pick up this summer I mentioned in my most anticipated summer and thriller book release video, so I'm not going to say what they're all about, but I will quickly show you all of the books that are on my radar. So we have Belladonna by Adeline Grace, Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey, Stay Awake by Megan Golden, Runtime by Catherine Ryan Howard, The Blame Game by Sandy Jones, and Daphne by Josh Mallerman. So if you want to know what those are all about and why I'm excited for them, you can go check out that other video that I did for my most anticipated releases. I'm also planning on doing a secret TBR video in July for horror books, but I don't want to give away everything that I'm going to be reading for that, but I will let you know one book for a little hint of what I'm planning on doing, and you can leave your guesses in the comments below if you want for what you think the theme is going to be. But one of the books I'm going to be reading is Gone to See the Riverman by Christopher Tripiana. This is a horror novella. It is about this woman who is obsessed with this serial killer who is convicted of butchering more than 20 women. She gets really obsessed with him, she gets close to him, and then he starts asking her to do favors for him, and things get really dark from there. I've heard really good things about this one so far, so I'm super excited to pick it up. And then the rest of the books that I have planned for my summer TBR are just kind of a random smattering of books that I want to get to. First, we have The New Neighbor by Carter Wilson. This is a thriller book that came out a couple of months ago that has been sitting on my shelves that I really need to read. It's about this man whose wife dies on the same day that he wins the lottery, so he has like an extreme high and extreme low all on the same day. And then he buys this really nice house to move into with his children, but then he realizes that someone is watching him and his family very closely, someone who knows exactly who they are, where they've come from, and what they're trying to hide. Next up, we have We Can Never Leave This Place by Eric LaRocca. The author was so kind to reach out to me on Instagram and ask me if I would be interested in reading an early copy of this book, and I definitely was because I've loved everything that I've read from him in the past. This is a super short little horror novella that is supposed to be a dark horror fantasy type book. You're following this girl named Mara, whose father dies violently, and she is surprised to find her mother welcoming a new guest into their home, claiming that he will protect them from the world of devastation and destruction outside their door. This is said to be a grotesque and thrilling dark fantasy that is a harrowing portrait of inherited grief and familial trauma. So really it sounds like the perfect book for me. I love exploring those themes in horror. I love everything I've read from this author before, and I'm super excited to get to this one. Another horror novella I picked up for the summer is The Lunchling by J. Alexander. I haven't heard much about this one, but I've heard heard it's like a creepy puppet type story. So that sounded interesting to me, and the cover is so creepy and I absolutely love it. In this one, you're following Orville and Ellie Taylor, who would do anything to get their son to eat his dinner. Lennon's a fussy kid and desperate times call for desperate measures, which is why they started using the puppet. The lunchling, they called it, an ugly little wooden doll with a funny voice. It was hideous and dumb and a little bit terrifying, and it was the only thing keeping Lennon alive until it started trying to kill him. Now Orville will do anything to get rid of the demonic puppet, and it's not giving up easy. It's a part of the family now, and it's hungry. Next up, we have a book that was sent to me by the publisher, and that is Primal Animals by Julia Lynn Rubin. This is said to be the female of the species meets midsummer. It's set at an elite summer program. There is a teen girl that gets sucked into a secret society, and there are deadly consequences. This is also giving me like Wilder Girl vibes from the cover, and I just love books that look like this. I will pick up any YA story that has these like creepy girls with like creepy foliage and things covering their faces. It's just the vibe that I'm always looking for. It sounds like a really good summer read since it's set at this like summer program area, and it's also a queer book, so it is perfect for June for Pride Month. Next up, we have a book that kind of just randomly came on my radar, and that is Unlikely Animals by Annie Hartnett. I don't exactly know the genre of this one. I think it's more like literary or contemporary fiction, and I really don't remember how I came upon it, but some of the authors who have blurbed this are Jeff Vandermeer, Kevin Wilson, and Kristen Arnett. So if you know the vibes of the types of stories that those authors write, particularly Kevin Wilson and Kristen Arnett, it sounds like it's going to be one of those types of stories as well. In the story, you're following this woman named Emma Starling, who is a natural-born healer who once had big plans for her life, but she's lost her way. She dropped out of medical school and returns back to her small town in New Hampshire to care for her father, who is dying from a mysterious brain disease. Her father has been hallucinating small animals, as well as having visions of the ghost of a long-dead naturalist, Ernest Harold Baines, once known for letting wild animals live in his house. This ghost has been giving Clive some ideas on how to spend his final days. Emma arrives home knowing that she must face her dad's illness, her mom's judgment, and her younger brother's recent stint in rehab, but she's unprepared to find that her former best friend from high school is missing, with no one bothering to look for her. The police say they don't spend much time looking for drug addicts. Emma's dad is the only one convinced the young woman might still be alive, and Emma is hopeful he could be right. Someone should be looking for her at least. Emma isn't really trying to be a hero, but somehow she and her father bring about just the kind of miracle the town needs. This is said to be a novel about familial expectations, imperfect friendships, and the possibility of resurrecting that which had been thought irrevocably lost. So it sounds like a really good book for the summer. And then another kind of random book that I came across is The World of Pawnside by Mary Helen Stefanik. This is set at a senior living facility, and one of the residents there creates this video game called The World of Pawnside, which allows the residents to virtually relive blissful moments from days long past, or even create new ones. So everyone's really loving the game. People are loving to escape into this virtual world, but then the guy who created the game is found dead in the pond, still strapped into his wheelchair, and there's an investigation into if that was a murder. Meanwhile, the video game goes dark, so they aren't able to play the video game anymore, and so people are working together, I guess, to try to get the game back up online, but also to try to figure out who killed this man, if anyone did at all. Kind of a random book that I stumbled across, but it sounded really interesting, and I feel like it'll be a good one for the summer as well. I also have a handful of books that are on my radar that I haven't picked up yet, but I'm interested in potentially picking up. So I'm not gonna go over all of those, but I will tell you what they are, and then you let me know if there's any on these that stand out to you that you think I should definitely pick up. And those are Every Summer After, Hidden Pictures, This Time Tomorrow, The Roughest Draft, Patricia Wants to Cuddle, and Cult Classic. Out of all of these, I am personally most interested in Hidden Pictures because I'm hearing really good things about that one. This Time Tomorrow because that sounds like it could really be up my alley. Patricia Wants to Cuddle because that just sounds weird and fun, and also Cult Classic. But let me know if any of these stand out to you, if you think I'm going to really enjoy any of these, and I will definitely prioritize them on my list. So that is it for all of the books that I'm planning to read this summer. I'm sure there will be books that I lose interest in by the time I get around to reading them, but those are all of my plans, what I'm hoping to read this summer. Let me know down in the comments below which of these books you're most excited to hear me talk about and see me read. Also, let me know what you're most excited to read this summer, especially if there's any horror or thriller books that I didn't mention that you think I should be picking up. Definitely let me know. And if you want to leave an emoji in the comments to let me know that you got to the end of the video, let's do a sunshine for today since this is the summer TBR. But that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye.